Let's talk horse sense today. From Jeremiah, chapter 12, verse 5. If you have run with the footmen, and they have wearied you, how can you then contend with the horses? And if in the land of peace in which you trusted, they wearied you, how will you then do in the floodplain of the Jordan when it comes? We're talking today about Jeremiah and what he saw in the people. He saw a mind change in the people. He saw that they were so at ease in their lifestyle. And he had warned them for years that they were about to go into captivity. And so he says to them one day, as they're griping and complaining about their condition, their circumstances, he says, listen, you've run with the footmen now, and they have wearied you. So on a straight up foot race, when things were good, and you laced up your Nikes or your New Balances, and you did the very best you could, and they overtook you, what are you going to do when the horses come? So if you're barely keeping your head above water and there's no problems, what are you going to do when the problems get here? What will you do, and how will you contend when the horses come? You know, I can outrun a horse. I really can. I've proven it before. I can outrun a horse for about 10 steps. And then he gets all four legs moving in that motion, that rhythm that a horse has when it runs, and I can't outrun a horse more than 10 steps. Did you know a grizzly bear can outrun a horse for about 35 to 40 yards? But when the horse stretches out and he gets his rhythm going, you can't contain that, and you can't keep up with that. Jeremiah is telling the people, you're heading into a bad time of life. And if you've barely done good when things were good, how are you going to do it when the horses get here? How are you going to do it when it really gets hard? So I keep a close ear to people who are whining and complaining now, because it's about to get bad. It's about to see a time of life in which we're going to have to sacrifice some things. And it's a time in which one good man said it's time that good men will have to sacrifice and do bad things, or evil things, or difficult things, hard things, because that's the culture that we're living in. He finishes up by saying, and if in the land of peace where you were, you trusted, but now you've taken into captivity, what are you going to do when the Jordan swells? Every spring the Jordan River would rise and come to a flood and you couldn't cross it. He says, you've done okay, but what are you going to do when the Jordan rises? How are you going to get across? What will you do when times really get hard? So I think the wisdom for us and some horse sense for us today is you better stop that complaining, and you better get your mind to the work. You better begin to save money, all that you can, tuck it away, put it everywhere that you can, because there's coming a day when it's all going to crash. The monetary system in America has to crash. It can't keep this falsehood up. I don't care what the stock market says and reveals to us today. Most of us don't live by that, but it's an indicator of futures and where we're going to be. And it's going to get tough. I think we're going to see more job closings. I think we're going to see more business failings. And because of that, we're entering in a time when we're going to have to contend with the horses and the floodplains of Jordan. Hey, this is Bob Shelton, and that's Horse Sense.